This is a 2013 Hyundai Veloster. We're going to be doing a remote start on it. He's removed this plastic panel off here, and he's going to be taking the screws out of the sides here to remove this bottom valence is going to come off, and then that will get us underneath here to the steering shroud, and we're going to take that off, and then we're going to get to all the ignition wires so that way you can get every single ignition wire that you need, because that's where all the wiring is on this Veloster. So basically we're going to remove this piece, and then we're going to remove this steering shroud underneath here. So just to show you how to take this off, you'll take the basically there's 3 screws right here on this side, and there's a screw down here in the bottom. You remove those, this will basically unsnap off. There's all your snaps on the back of there. It's very simple, very easy. Hyundais and Kias are one of the easiest ones to do. Beyond that, underneath, you're going to have this piece that sits underneath the shroud like this. It's bolted on there at 10 millimeters. You just take off 5 10 millimeters, and this piece comes off just like this. Very simple, very easy. Steering shroud is underneath here. It basically comes off with 1 screw here, and then there's 2 screws, one here and one here behind the steering wheel. Both of those are hidden behind the steering wheel, so you'll have to turn it and remove that screw. This whole shroud comes down. That's the 3 pieces you have to remove to get up into here to get to the ignition. We have to get to this ignition right here. That's the most important part. That's where all your wires are. There's also going to be one for the parking light here, and there's also going to be keyless in here. So we're going to show you where all that stuff is at. So if you go underneath the fuse box and you go to this yellow plug right here, you're going to have pink, black, yellow, black. That is your lock and unlock wires right there, right underneath. Then up here on the stalk is a pink wire here. That is basically your parking lot wire. Then down here, these are all your ignition wires, and I'll list the diagram in here for you, but everything on here is all your ignition wires. That's everything you will need to do this. Okay, so here's the ignition harness we pulled down, right up in here, unplugged, ripped back this, and then here's your wires you tapped. This particular model has a red wire that's extra. I believe it's probably an extra constant, but blue and orange is going to be your accessories. White is going to be your starter. Black is going to be ignition, and green is going to be your constant. So these are the main ignition wires that you're going to need to make this remote start. We're going to strip back this pink wire because it's too thin to T-tap. We're going to wrap that, and then obviously we'll do our keyless underneath here. Okay, we've unplugged this plug from up here at the stalk right here for the parking light. We went ahead and stripped this pink wire because it's so tiny that we definitely don't want to T-tap it. It's very, very thin. It's a 24 gauge. So we stripped that back. We pulled this yellow plug out. We tapped our pink with black stripe and our yellow with black stripe for our lock and unlock. And then, like I said, all these are tapped, so we're gonna go wire up our remote start right now. Okay, this is our remote start. We're gonna be using the CM900. Also has the bypass slot on the bottom for the blade. This is our antenna because we're going to be doing a 2-way. This is our secondary remote, our first remote because it's a 2-way, Fmx antenna, and main ignition harness, secondary harness. We're going to use parking lights and lock and unlock out of this, which I'll show you that. And then all your ignition wires are going to be on this one. So I'll show you that once we get everything all wired up. Okay, secondary plug, negatives, large plug, positives. Everything's wired up. We have everything wired down. This is going to be our parking light wire, which is a negative, which is a green with a white stripe. This little tiny harness I made here is going to be our lock and unlock, which is blue with green and blue. And then our large black wire is ground. And then this wiring harness I made is going to be all your wires for ignition. Blue, yellow, red with white stripe, and red, which I combine into one. Green for ignition and white for accessory. We've already switched our dipstick thing in our brain for the blue wire to be second accessory, since this vehicle has a second accessory on it. Okay, so it's kind of a wiring mess in here, but we forgot to tell you about one wire. So the blue with the white stripe right here that's dangling, you can run it to the kick panel. It says it's in there. It's the pink wire in the kick panel. Or you can actually go right up here to the plunger like I did, and I just tagged it up in there. So if you see the T-tap in there, it's the pink wire and the plunger harness. I'm gonna zip tie all this up, make it look nice, but every single thing on this car is working right now. All your ignition wires are here, keyless is down here, obviously the parking light wire is up into there. So we're gonna clean this all up, get it all looking nice. We've got all this, you know, somewhat Tessa taped up, looking nice. I'm gonna zip tie it all up, looking nice. The one thing about this car that you gotta understand is the keyless is not going to work hardwired. We did it on this vehicle. It will work intermittently, but it will not work without going past this BCM. The BCM is controlling the keyless before what we are doing. So it actually has to be bypassed and do all it that way. We're not gonna do it. Customer does not wanna pay for that. So just wanna let you guys know that if you do wire up keyless and you're wondering why it doesn't work once in a while or intermittently, that is why. The computer is overriding what you're doing here with the hard wire. So that is why, but it will work sometimes. So just wanna let you guys know that. All right, this is a 2013 Hyundai Veloster. We did a two-way remote start from Arctic Start. Hold down the remote start button. It's gonna send out a signal in amber, and then it's gonna come back to let us know that it's remote started within about 15 seconds. And it will light up green to let you know, and chirp to let you know that it's actually remote started.